Good evening. It is 7 o'clock here in northern New Jersey, and this is the Tibet Center, Kunshab Tarduling. We are at our parsonage in South Orange, and this is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma specifically. Tonight we'll be working with His Holiness's book, The Power of Compassion, which is half Buddhist book and half secular ethics book, one of the first in the genre, came out in 95. All the prayers we say are on the Buddhist Tibet Center website. Scroll down to prayers in the FAQ section. That's where you'll find them. Anyone who has passed away recently and you wish us to remember them at the end of the class when we do the Sutra of the Recollection of Noble Three Jewels, place their names in the chat box as soon as you can. So we'll start. And the first prayer we'll say, which is in the FAQ section on our website, is Prayer for the Spreading of the Teachings Throughout the Length and Breadth of the West, written by the previous Ling Rinpoche. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon, and especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness. May they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas, called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas, from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayat Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. The Yinzer is among us. Generating bodhicitta, which is the next prayer, it's a combination of refuge and bodhisattva vow. And we say each verse 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So as is our custom, we will roll into a nice mood by saying one round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, who embodies great compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So what's on the menu? First, the power of compassion. Not first, but first will be another text. Power of compassion will be the main course. With the appetizer and a amuse-bouche, whatever they call it. It'll be this. I said I would continue. When I last left off doing these things, we were in the middle of Chapter 4 of His Holiness's Way of Dying or something, and I said we'd continue it, and then we will, because this book segues nicely into His Holiness's presentation of the death process. But before that, we've been hearing from the Venerable Thrangu Rinpoche, who's also is a Kagyu Lama, but also a Geshe La Rampa. He took the whole course and very much admired. His Holiness assigned him to be the main tutor of the new Karmapa, the 17th Karmapa. So here, his question and answers are very, very good. And this is something we were talking about Monday night in class, but when Meta Rob said, where is I? Where is I? We're discussing this. So, Rob, if you're tuning in, otherwise you'll get it in the archive. Here's the question, and it's a good one. And feel free to interrupt, talk, give us tips on horses if you do those things. I don't know, whatever. I don't care. If in reality there is no self, then what is happening during reincarnation? For $500. What is that? Really? So he answers, basically, and here is a nice little nugget. The self is a concept that our mind creates to account for our experiences. We can discuss that, but you got the idea? It's a concept we create. Who's we? I didn't. Never mind. That our mind creates, rather, to account for our experiences. In other words, maybe it's a steadying element or something. All these things are going by, but he's going to flesh this out now. It's very interesting. The foundation for this belief is the continuity of our experience. Yeah, right? I did this, I'm doing here, I married so-and-so, whatever. All these things in life. The found is a continuity of our experience. Our mind is going from one life to another. He's taking it way out. He's expanding it now. It's going from one life to another and is unable to explain to itself what is going on. I got that feeling all the time. Yeah, what's going on? I have all these books, I still don't know. So it develops the idea that the self dies and the self later reincarnates. I don't get that jump, but I have to think about it more. Okay? Our mind believes that what reincarnates into a baby is the same as that which died in a previous lifetime. Then what is it, I would say? There's a lot of thinking here on this. Very interesting. This is just like we believe that the person we are today is the same person that we thought we were yesterday.
It's interesting because usually Buddhists assert reincarnation.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas he seems to be saying, well, maybe it's not like what we think.
He seems to say, yeah, they assert it because you better do this right now because you're going to suffer in the future. I don't know. He's really standing with 2 feet in midair, firmly placed in midair. So he goes on. But in fact, whether we are talking about yesterday or today or this life and the next life, he stretches it out. It's the same thing. It's the mistake of a continuum for a solid identity. This is a continuum and we freeze it. He makes a good explanation now, very easy. For example, if we stand on a riverbank, and Atisha used to talk this way all the time. If we stand on a riverbank, we could say that this is the same river today as it was yesterday. The Chicago River, yes, the same. But it's not really the same river because it's not the same water. Okay. The river is continuous, yesterday and today, but it is not the same. It just appears to be the same thing to us. And here's where the mistakes are made. As we saw earlier, this, quote, self is sometimes thought of as being our body and at other times as being our mind. I have a headache. I has the headache. What is I? We go on with this. Things like that. If we consider the changes that we have gone through in our lifetime, we cannot say that we have always had the same body or the same mind. When we were a child, we had a small child's body, and our mind thought much differently. There are many differences between our mind and body now, and when we were a child. There are many differences between our mind and body now and the mind and body when we were a child. It's a little choppy, but we obviously do not act the same way as when we were a child. Some do, however. They all show it. And they get elected, and I don't know. Even though we know that we are constantly changing, because of the continuity of experience, we still say, I'm still the same person as we go through life. The same thing happens with reincarnation. We are mistaking a continuity of experience for a, quote, self that is reincarnated. There's a lot in there. I mean, I don't understand it fully, but there's a lot to work on. We're meant to work on these things. Yeah. So, it's something, the self, we established it ourselves to explain the passing movie, whatever's going on. And we do that. We could look at our lives, how we freeze things, give it a name, and run with that, forgetting that was an arbitrary categorization and stuff like that. Not time. Yeah, go ahead.
Does it mean that bodhisattvas who've recognized everything he's just saying,
Would have to be a noble bodhisattva.
they allow their minds to do that in order to be here with us, to help us through that. But if they chose to, they could just be in whatever state that is fully
They
aware.
can sit in the Dharmakaya and not show something that a normal being who hasn't seen emptiness can understand. We can't see the Sambhogakaya, the glorious body, right? And we can't see the Dharma body itself, Dharmakaya. But these beings realize that. So show up with faults, show up in such a way that we can converse with them and they can influence us. I guess. But it would have to be a bodhisattva with fully understood emptiness and
Are the pure realms, do they refer to Buddha fields, these realms of Buddhas, how do they relate to the Dharmakaya?
the Buddha's in the Dharma. Buddha is the Dharmakaya simultaneous with the
By the
the
way,
other forms.
Sukhavati is the realm of the Buddha, Amitabha.
That's his paradise. The way it's easier to get enlightened there. Not everybody in there is already enlightened. They just advertise. It's easier to get enlightened and to learn. And for some people, all they can do is a devotional prayer and just put all their energy into being born in Sukhavati. And what do you do if you're illiterate? And most of the people Buddha's taught, especially in Tibet, except unless they were monks or nobles that had schooling, they couldn't read or write. A lot of the tankas helped them because everything was explained. You could point. This means this. I don't know. But the problem is we have to realize how we freeze things, and that automatically puts you out of reality. In general, everybody's in the same dance, but we think we're fixed identities, and we're not. We can't be. And we keep forgetting that everything is in flux. We all do. And maybe that causes us to suffer. I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. But it's a lot. There's all sorts of ways of getting at this idea of solid I that doesn't exist from different angles, because it's so embedded, you have to hit it from all sides. And it's instinctual. It's on that level. You don't have to think, I'm I. I mean, it's just there. And it's really not there the way we think it is. I don't know. Tough one. So that's something this book is excellent, by the way. It's called Journey of the Mind, Preparing for the Bardo in Life, Dreams, Meditation, Dying, and Rebirth. They slice up all of living, all of being into, you're in the human bardo between life and death, and within that there's a dream yoga, a dream bardo, there's a meditation bardo, and then there's the bardo itself as you're dropping the body, and you're in this other realm where, as we said Monday night, there was I don't know if you heard it or not, someone asked a question, why are we praying for somebody? Can they hear us?
Oh, yeah.
And they said, well, a bardo being has clairvoyance. They're not hampered by us, which is a big tip for us. Because they're not saying the bardo being study hard and all of a sudden you realize what all... No, naturally everyone in the bardo state has a clairvoyance and an ability to go instantly anywhere they want to go. And so that's telling us that we have a lot of qualities that we don't realize we have. And so the person that people tend to go to where they're familiar. Oh, what's Harry doing now? We're saying prayers for me. Oh, something like that. He said he has a lot of little tidbits here. His question and answer sections are well edited. It's worth the price of the book, which isn't much. So anyway, the power of compassion. So I said we'll begin where we ended. And it's about contentment. Let's see what he said. So, it's the right attitude toward what we have. How do you handle that? The sense of contentment, I'm on page 11. The sense of contentment is a key factor for attaining happiness. Bodily health, material wealth, and companions and friends are 3 factors for happiness. Contentment is the key that will determine the outcome of your relations with all of these 3 factors.
What are the 3 again?
Again, I always do that too. Bodily health, material wealth, and companions. There's an Italian saying, someone who's healthy is rich and doesn't know it. What do you think, Doc? Contentment is the key that will determine the outcome of your relation with all these 3 factors. First, with regard to the body. No. One can see that too much attachment to one's own body sometimes leads to problems. Makeup counter, blowing the whole salary. Yeah, I see. And these are the guys I'm talking about. For that reason, Buddhist training looks at the body from a different angle and tries to analyze the nature of the body. And that's why they give you the speech. You'll hear it now. To me, thinking along these lines is very useful. I think about the source of my body and the very nature of blood, bones, and flesh. He does the analytical trip. The body is not something pure. Even the act of birth is bloody. I think you can vouch for that. Also, no matter how beautiful or polished your body appears on the outside, inside there are still a lot of dirty things. But we prefer not to think of that. I'm a meeting here. Hey. With the covering of skin, the human body sometimes looks very beautiful. But if you look more closely, then this body is really quite horrible. Even though we consume good food with a nice color, taste, and smell, the food is transformed into dirty things. And Chung Rinpoche will get very graphic on this topic, and we didn't want to hear it. Yeah. His mildest thing was, you think something is good, start chewing and then take it out and look at it. Hey, you ruined my night. There goes our weekend. But that's the way they talk, because there is an over-attachment. Well, what about the formless realm, the form realm, rather? Everything is pure. The bodies are different there. They don't sweat. The God's bodies, stuff like that. That's worse. Then you really get attached then. There's no boundary. There's no other side. Yet, if we try to remove these dirty aspects of the body, we cannot survive. Ooh. And this is the case not only for other people's bodies, but one's own body too. Well, it's the same. Most importantly, it is because of our bodies that we have illness, old age, pain, and death. We conflate. We think that it's all in one package, the mind, the body. No, if we didn't have a body, or we had a pure body, we wouldn't have those things. Yet, despite these faults, the body is very precious because of intelligence, which we can use for many great works. The human brain cooperating with consciousness. Thus, when one's desire or attachment to one's body becomes extreme, it is very effective to meditate on the impure aspects of the body, particularly to reflect on its source, its constitution, and its function, so that one will have a more realistic and moderate outlook on the body. That's the reason. So he's balancing out our normal over-glorification of the body with a little reality here. It's this, it's that. Somewhere in the middle, you rest, realize what you have. I guess. I don't know. Whatever you think, please announce. Cheers. It's espresso. It's not like a... a disclaimer. Similarly, he goes on page 12, when our attitude towards our material possessions and wealth is not proper, it can lead to an extreme attachment towards such things as our property, houses, and belonging. And this is, we all know. How many guitars do you have, Darren? People talk about it, especially in New Jersey, where it seems to be the recreation is shopping. They're always talking about this and that in the house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to backsplash that or whatever. No. This can lead to an over-attachment of property, houses, and belongings. This can lead to an inability to feel contented. Now he's lighting the fuse. That's what happens. You're not happy when you always want something and you're comparing. It's tricky. It sneaks in, you know. If that happens, then one will always remain in a state of dissatisfaction, always wanting more. In a way, one is then really poor, because the suffering of poverty is the suffering of wanting something and feeling the lack of it. You're poor. You know the story, the Buddha who gave the beggar the merit from the dinner or whatever because he was the only one that wasn't looking for a reward. So even though one may have a lot of material possessions, if one is mentally poor, then will always feel lacking, will always want more. So that's a self-examination. That could be a meditation, invent your own, but what am I complaining about? What do I want? First of all, is it possible to have some of the ideas that come to us that we want at all? Really? Your own jet? I don't think so. Things like that. People hear these things. Oh, yes, I'd like to have a house. You know, on Christmas time, I'll go to Cancun, and then I'll go here and there. All right, if you can do it. But why torture yourself? Restaurants are that way too, aren't they? Oh, he's eating here. Oh. Then one will always feel lacking, will always want more. Okay. On the other hand, material faculties are quite crucial. Material facilities, rather. Maybe I'll use my glasses. I still can't get used to them. I haven't been wearing them for years because they did a laser thing on my eyes. But yeah, it's a little better. Material facilities are quite useful for society because when individuals acquire material possessions and develop materially, it contributes in a way to the well-being of the society and the community. Any ideas on this? If everybody has this or that, it's benefit.
Say in a way.
In a way, he says that is very good. Contributes in a way to the well-being of the society and community. For that, you need a certain degree of what I would call healthy competition. He goes off the rails now a little for what I think, but I don't know, healthy competition, because because without competition, perhaps there might not be such good progress and material development. Is he a capitalist?
Right. I mean, he's said explicitly before.
That he's a socialist, I know. Oh, wait a minute, we have to bring him to court.
Maybe it's a matter of balance.
I think you got something there, Smith. Extra check for Mark today. Healthy, but it is quite important to be aware of what type of competition we need, which is a sort of friendly competition that would not seek the destruction or the downfall of rivals or other people, but rather would act as a stimulating factor for growth and progress. You know, good luck with the characters we have in life today, but it makes sense. A healthy competition.
Democratic socialism?
Mom Donnie? Did someone say family party or whatever, working family? I don't know. Perhaps, personally rather, I can see some parallels to the need for competition in material development, in spiritual development in Buddhism. For material development and spiritual, he's saying that competition is good in Buddhism. In Buddhism, the foundation of the path is taking refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. which is a spiritual community. The Buddha, being a fully enlightened being, is very difficult to emulate. You may draw, and here's the Buddhist part of it now. He's this hardcore Buddhist, in and out of different things. You may draw inspiration from the example of the Buddha, but you can't really compete with him. Whereas when you take refuge in the Sangha, the spiritual community, within the community there may be spiritual companions who are at the very beginning of the path to enlightenment. When you reflect upon the qualities of the Sangha, then you can get a sense of encouragement. You feel that if you can compete, you feel as if you can compete with others. This is big in the Tibetan society, the spiritual society. They're always debating and this and that and making a hierarchy. Some other places, Zen in a way is a little competitive, but
How can we compete spiritually?
that's it. You can compete if you boil it
I'm
down to
more
an
loving than
academic.
you.
What?
I'm more loving than you.
That's right, yeah. How many afflictions did you kill today? Let me see the body count. It's Vietnam all over again. No. Yeah. This is a big point. Let's see what he's driving at. Sometimes we go off and then all of a sudden he continues and When you reflect on the qualities of the Sangha, you can get a feeling of encouragement. You feel as you can compete with others. There's not really a negative competition. It is a healthy competition. Also, you can emulate the example of others ahead of you with the confidence that you can reach their stage. Okay. Dilgo Chensei, if you saw him up in Chongla, all the His Holiness. I think, how the hell can I ever? But, but at the same time, they're so direct, and it's. Now when we talk about objects of enjoyment or desire, now we're getting ready. Everybody's awake now. And material well-being, Buddhist literature mentions 5 types of object of desire. Figure it out. You know what they are. You ready?
I don't remember.
Form, sound, odors, taste, and tactile. The usual thing that appeals to our senses. A good piece of music, a good lasagna, not too spicy, not too acidic, no, just the right. And don't eat too much. Things like, okay? Whether or not these objects of enjoyment give rise to happiness, satisfaction, and contentment, or conversely give rise to suffering and dissatisfaction, depends very much on how you apply your faculty of intelligence. This is craftiness. This is very, very mature. How do you use sense input without going over the complete loss and, craving? How do you have to eat? You have to have enjoyment. The Strango Rinpoche, I mentioned it Monday. He was talking to a group of 3-year retreatants at Wappinger Falls, I think, where Denise holds court. And he's saying all the lamas came here to teach to you during this, and they probably all said, don't lose this opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Take advantage. And he said, I'm telling you, you're still human. You have a human body with limitations. You have to rest when you have to rest. That's it. Don't put the hammer down, more or less, we were saying. And I've heard this from even Rinpoche. There's too much. No. So-and-so's a fanatic, he would tell me. So-and-so did it. He's fanatic. So that I like. So the same thing. That's a high art. Right now, for us, everything is material, and we have to have enjoyment and relaxation. That's a sign of maturity if you can turn it on and off without. The outcome of our interaction depends on the application of intelligence. I'll say it similarly, just as the case of material objects, one's relations to one's friends and companions have different potentials. In some cases, certain type of interaction with one's friends and companions could lead to additional suffering, frustration, and dissatisfaction. Social interaction. A certain type of interaction can also lead to satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment, and happiness. And that's our reason at the Tibet Center, how we should behave, encourage each other to relax and enjoy the spiritual journey, whatever. In fact, we need public transportation rather than hard work. So anyway, certain type of can also lead to satisfaction, blah, blah. Again, the outcome of our interactions depends on the application of intelligence. Another important issue is sexual relations. Sexual relations are part of nature, and without them, there would be no more human beings. That is clear. Ooh, even I figured that out. But to go to the extreme, to a sort of blind love, often creates problems and more misery. I think the main purpose of sexual relations is reproduction or creation of beautiful new young babies. One must not have just the desire for sexual pleasure, but also a sense of responsibility, a sense of commitment. If we look at other species, I think some are very admirable. For example, certain birds, such as swans, base their relationship solely on a sense of responsibility, and they mate for life. Well, humans, unfortunately, aren't that way. But anyway, this is very beautiful. Some other animals, like dogs, do not have any kind of responsibility and just enjoy the sexual act, leaving the mother with the entire responsibility. This, I think, is awful. So he's a feminist. Both these lamas, when it talks about sex, all say that birth control is okay, but they are both against abortion. So that's where they stand.
Which two lamas?
Frango Rinpoche, His Holiness.
I see.
Some of them, and you'll find it in a lot of the others. There's no, in fact, Tibetan medicine has certain medicines women can take when they're having too many kids to give the body a rest. You know, because in the Tibetan society they didn't have some of the contraception we have. So they developed this Ayurvedic-based, whatever their medicine, I'm assuming Ayurvedic, things so the woman isn't fertile, delivery, to give the body a rest. I think as human beings we must follow nature, but the more civilized manner for sexual relations is not to seek just temporary satisfaction. If one does not see the sense of responsibility in marriage, this is short-sighted. Marriage, I don't know, but I know. Some of the problems, say, for instance, the two couples are not on the same wavelength. One is, he's going to marry me, he's going to do this or that, or she's going to... And the other one's saying, this is a temporary thing, but lying, not being frank. And look at all the problems that happen because of that, including violence. I mean, every Saturday night you get the police reports of domestic violence and things like that. Misunderstanding. So, I don't know. It's not our job to tell other people what to do. We must follow nature, civilized men. Sometimes people ask me about marriage. Of course, I have no experience of it. But I am quite sure about one thing. Marriage with too much haste is dangerous. So he's bully pulpiting now. Well, first, you must have a long period to examine one another. And afterwards, when you have genuine confidence, that's his key words here, that you can live together, then you should marry. That's the proper way. Tibet is different. Remember, they had polyandry as well as polygamy. So the women could have several husbands. Tenzin has 2 fathers. I don't know which one is it. Well, not anymore because I think they're all gone except. So yeah, his last father died. That's right. But that's normal, and so it's different. The morality is different according to the location, to the society, more or less. It seems that many families in these modern times have problems. One reason is that sexual freedom is too extreme. Moreover, part of your modern culture promotes sex and sexual things, and I think this is not very healthy. On the other hand, and we overemphasize it. Can't watch a movie with guns and tits, that's everything. They got to put it in. It's so gratuitous. It's like laughable, really. On the other hand, if we compare sex with violence, I think sex is better. All right. He's doing stand-up here. But often because of sex, violence is also created. Boom. I think in reality, they are very interlinked. Woo. So what do you feel about that? Buddhists don't proselytize about morality. John Rinpoche never mentioned never condemned outright homosexuality or people with different affairs or not married. Or he didn't never ever. I don't know.
There's a sense of possessiveness that's connected with sexuality.
This is a big
Maybe.
point. I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Crimes of passion. Maybe.
All the French novels, all the Russian novels, even worse. Yeah, that's true. Possession is a big point. I think if anyone feels that, the person is trying to possess them, I think it's very unhealthy right away. Deep down. It's very difficult.
But also maybe the foundations of tribal conflicts are this sense of preserving one's genetic lineage or something like that, right?
Well, there's a lot of that today.
Right.
In India, for instance, the Hindu versus Muslim, nobody does birth control because they're afraid of being overwhelmed. Yeah, that's a big point, the societal thing. The purity of the race, let's hear that. We got that now in the White House. Ugh. While the most important thing in family life is children, birth control is also extremely important. Of course, from the Buddhist viewpoint, each individual human life is very precious. From that viewpoint, birth control is not good, but at the same time, the world's population is simply getting too great. And when he wrote this, listen to this, perhaps 5 billion people can be sustained. Well, it's already 8 now, from 95, 30 years ago. It went up 3 billion in 30 years.
That's crazy.
But isn't it plateauing now? Or
I don't know. I know some societies, China, is plateauing. Some are declining. Italy's birth decline is birth decline. France was until they gave all kinds of incentives for women to have children who are not married, and they'll give them a year off, and they'll give them helpers in the house and all that. So I don't know what the motivation was. More French people. From that viewpoint, birth control is not good, but at the same time, the world's population is simply is getting too great. Some scientists say another 2 or 3 billion may be acceptable. He's saying 5 is really too much, but 2 or 3. We're at the third now. That's it. So what's the carrying capacity of the planet? No one knows. Although if we keep up what's going on now, people maybe pandemics will trim the herd. I don't know. Cull the population. I think it's better if we have a smaller number of people. This is more peaceful and more friendly. With this larger interest, then the conclusion is quite clear that we have to use birth control for the benefit of all humanity. Birth control is very necessary. So he's dogmatic on it now. So to repeat. No, our behavior in our daily lives is the key factor in determining whether all these facilities and relations really produce genuine, long-lasting satisfaction or not. Much depends on our own attitude. And for this mental factor, motivation is the key thing. So, we have material goods, we have friendly relations, this and that. How we use them is, I guess, what he's saying. In Buddhist literature, human life is seen as a favorable form of existence or rebirth. There are various factors that could complement the favorable existence as a human being, such as having a long life, good health, material possessions, and eloquence. Education, I guess, one way, so that one can relate to others in a more beneficial way. But as I pointed out earlier, whether or not these conditions can lead to a more beneficial existence or to a more harmful one depends very much on how you utilize them and whether or not you apply the faculty of intelligence. So think, don't react, I guess. We can take that with us. That's it. Now he gets very Buddhist. So in this book, on that point, Buddhist literature mentions the practice of the 6 perfections. So he's telling you now, I think the six perfections are a guide to your life, if you want to. But this is straight Buddhism now, it's not secular ethics. Nobody talks about six perfections in the secular ethics context. For instance, in the case of acquiring material possessions, according to Buddhism, generosity and the act of giving are seen as causes of wealth. You want to get rich? Give things. It's that gross. But in order to practice generosity and giving successfully, one must first of all have a sound ethical discipline, a certain type of outlook and principles. And that ethical discipline or those principles can come about only if one has the ability to bear hardships. And what is that? Patience. The ability to bear, forbearance.
How does patience relate to ethics?
In order to have, don't say, that ethical discipline or those principles can come about only if one has the ability to bear hardships and adverse circumstances when confronted with them. So your ethics have to be strong enough so you don't steal something, you don't kill somebody because they're in the way of you getting the. So that's it. And so that depends on patience. For that, you also need a certain degree of exertion or joyful effort. The six perfections in a nutshell. In order to practice the application of joyful effort successfully, one must have the ability to concentrate, to focus on events, actions, or goals. This in turn depends on whether or not you have the ability to exercise your power of judgment, to judge between what is desirable and what is undesirable, what is negative and what is positive. So in a way, all these six perfections are related to the acquisition of even one of the conditions, say material wealth. You want to be wealthy, you have to be a rounded person that knows how to go out and get it, doesn't kill for it, because it'll bring about terrible. Patient enough to do it properly, joyful enough to bear the work, concentrated enough, and then wise enough. What we hear all the time is the connection between concentration and wisdom. Most of the books are written on that. You need a one-pointed mind to understand the nature of reality deeply, totally, so it becomes operational in you. And then they'll backtrack and they'll say, well, for that you have to be joyful about going about the concentration. You don't get bored sitting there like that. The joyfulness depends on you having the other three perfections. The ethics, the patience, and generosity, so you have the material conditions. So that's how they interact. Shantideva talks about that way. But all of the modern people that talk about always shamatha, then vipassana. Shamatha, vipassana.
Interesting, because usually I've thought about it in terms of going forward from generosity to
Yes,
ethics,
I think
right?
that way, yeah.
But here it seems to also be implying some way in which it works backwards. Too.
Yes, they do this.
Yeah.
And just one thing, so if you want to just gather material wealth, you need all these other factors. So there seems to be...
But what would be the...
This is a big point you're making right now, by the way.
What would be... How would joyous perseverance... Well, joyous perseverance contribute to patience?
Going backwards?
Yeah.
You don't get depressed when you're bearing these problems.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You have to be patient. Wait for the train. You can, son of a bitch, where is it? Or else you could do something positive. Well, it'll come. I don't know. That's a crude way of explaining it. I don't know. But it seems to be that they go back and forth all the time. That being is not that linear. I think...
Or maybe
it's not a domino, in other words.
You have enthusiasm for practice, and that is what is
That's a good one. That's probably better, yeah.
Contributing factor for
Yeah.
patience.
Why do you have that enthusiasm? I guess you've scoped it out ahead of time that this is the way to go. The intelligence factor, the insight factor. They seem to go back and forth informing each other. I don't know. That's something I don't understand yet. In the future, we will.
They also say that within each perfection, all six are contained.
Yes. Yeah. If you can bring in something, recite to bring something like that. It's in a couple of books. But that's a big point. I don't know, it always reflects back to the totality of everything. They always bring up that was Indra's net or something, where all the things reflect each other, and
Hologram.
hologram's how you're supposed to visualize. The body's made just of light. It's not, that's that's all I know about. Maybe, but the back and forth, because maybe it's like the structure of an atom. It's always moving, and I don't know.
I think the thing with the hologram is every part contains a copy of the whole.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's Indra's net then.
Yeah.
Rinpoche was always, but you don't understand. He was always starting it off, and then I would ask, you don't understand. Obviously, he didn't think that I would absorb it at that time, but he mentioned it to plant it. So I'm trying to figure out. There's a sutra where it talks about Indra's net. Maybe someone knows. But there's a lot. This is a lot to play around with. There's not play. Where are we? I didn't even look at the time. Yeah, we only have 9 minutes. 8
Joyously
minutes.
persevering.
What?
You're joyously persevering.
No, I'm drinking espresso. I'm jacked up. In old age, you need the side things. This is perfection. Okay. How do we go about implementing in our daily lives these principles which are stipulated in the practice of the 6 perfections? He asks and he answers. Buddhism recommends living one's life within the ethical discipline of observance of what are known as the 10 precepts, or avoidance of the 10 negative actions. Okay. Out of these 10 negative actions, one, known as wrong views or perverted views, might make more sense within the context of a religious belief. Other than that, all the 9 negative actions are, I would say, common denominators of all religious traditions. So wrong view is something the Buddhists would say, well, you think everything is inherently existent, but it's not. Otherwise, everything else, killing, stealing, covetousness, etc., or just universal. They are seen as negative or undesirable for society in general, regardless of any religious point of view. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, good conduct is the way in which life becomes more meaningful, more constructive, and more peaceful. Good conduct, good seeds of good events later. It's like a bank account. You can always think that way. It's easy to handle. For this, much depends on our own behavior and our own mental attitude. Behavior depends on mental attitude. No. You like, you don't like. You know, you don't know.
You buy?
Remember Jamska was you know? You don't know. Before you even answer the question. I guess in debate they fire out the answer right away. You don't fumfer. I guess at the high levels of debate.
Yeah, if you pause, they chew.
So we'll end on this, but we'll begin on this. So the issue of facing death in a peaceful manner is a very difficult one. Hate to ruin everyone's holiday season. What the hell? Well, it ruins anyway. If you just suppress this all the time, that's what everyone does. The mind is very smart. We have Buddha nature. It's going to come up with different little warning signals and make a feeling of free-floating anxiety. We haven't settled the big point. And in settled death, you have to settle what life is all about. And you have to wake up your Buddha nature to solve that problem. So in a way, it has to be mentioned. According to common sense, there seem to be 2 ways of dealing with the problem and the suffering. The first is simply to try to avoid the problem, to put it out of your mind, even though the reality of that problem is still there and is not minimized. You not thinking about it doesn't minimize it, doesn't prevent it. All right, sometimes you can't, but another way of dealing with this is to look directly at the problem and analyze it. This is straight, no chaser Buddhism. Make it familiar to you and make it clear that it is a part of all of our lives. And he always says that. remember one time, Buddha died, he yelled out one time, someone was asking about death. And then he went on, death is part of life. And he'll say that all the time. And then the more you read, you realize we're just constantly floating around, next. It's not bad. There's good parts to that. I've already touched on the topic of the body and illness. Illness happens. It is not something exceptional. It is part of nature and a fact of life. You hear me? Of course, we have every right to avoid illness and pain, but in spite of that, that effort, when illness happens, it is better to accept it. While you should make every effort to cure it as soon as possible, you should have no extra mental burden. They all talk this way, the separating the mind and the body. Why add suffering with the mind when the body started the whole thing? Okay, so actually the mind started because the body is not perfect because of the events the mind you built up over the past. But let's not go there. Let's take his advice straight. While you make every effort to cure as soon as possible, you should have no extra mental burden. As the great Indian scholar Shantideva has said, if there is a way to overcome the suffering, then there is no need to worry. If there is no way to overcome the suffering, then there is no use in worrying. This kind of rational attitude is quite useful. Can I fix it? All right, what are you worrying about? You can? What are you worrying about? I like that. Too bad I can't apply it. And then he'll start the next sentence. We'll never want to speak about death. We'll do that Monday night. So let's see what time it is. Whoops. Yeah, we only have 3 minutes. Darren, any names? No names. So all the violence that took place in the world, we could pray for these people, because if they're in the Bardo, the group you can pray for, Darfur or whatever, and all the trouble has happened. They're clairvoyant and they hear us. He even goes so far to say as in they will, at the second stage of the Bardo, if they're used to it, they will understand all languages. So some of them, you're chanting in Tibetan, you used to speak, no, they'll understand it.
Every Bardo being.
Yes.
Wow.
He says, I'll find the passage and bring it. After a while, not every, I guess some of them go through right away.
What if it's an animal, though?
I don't know. That drops off. Don't forget that. What's his definition of death? When the mind separates from the body. All right, so now the mind's out there without the body. He also says that, I don't want to, well, we can go a minute over. The person looks at the former body and it can't enter it again. In fact, sees it as something terrible. What's this? So it's a very big point. That's his definition of death, and they all say the same. Separation of body and mind. So now the mind's out there with its Buddha nature, with its less of a burden of a gross body, etc. And it's what's feeding it, it's past karma. So it's going to go to, well, what's, there'll be a familiarity. What is so-and-so doing? He's praying. Oh, those are prayers for me. He said even they'll understand in Tibetan. I don't know about that. That's something to ask the High Lamas. But no one shows up here. Next time Serkan Rinpoche, or Linga Rinpoche comes, we'll hit him with some of these questions. Sutra of the Recollection, Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavad, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats, who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavat, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy, it is trustworthy, and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Now we have 8 verses for training the mind by Langtri Tangpa. Found it? With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, will learn to think of myself as the lowest among all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I had benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. And now, prayer for the swift return, written by His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Luzang Tubuang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existences end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Losang Tenpei, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karma Yama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So this concludes tonight's presentation. Coming attractions, this Saturday at 1 o'clock, right here in South Orange. We have White Tara Sadhana. Takes about 45 minutes, and then we adjourn for a nice potluck or cover dish, whatever you call it in this area. Food fest, lunch and everything. And our next Dharma class will be Monday night at 151 West 30th Street, 3rd floor. And then a week from today, right back here in South Orange. Thank you for your patient listening. Big love to all of you.